Welcome to For the Health of It. I'm your host, Corian K. Paget, and this is your number one source for all things sports, health, and fitness related.
Oh, hold on, Coach. What does For the Health of It stand for?
Good question, Austin. The four and For the Health of It stands for our four principles, which are mindset, movement, nutrition, and recovery.
Okay, cool. Let's do it for the health of it then.
Welcome to another edition of For the Health of It. I'm your host, Corian K. Paget, and we are pleased to have with us today Necia Jay. Necia, how are you doing?
I'm well, Corey, and how are you?
I'm doing quite well, So, Necia, tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay, well, like you said, my name is Necia. I live in Dallas now. I am a fitness, health, and wellness coach, mainly specializing in women's transformations. I am the girl boss and the owner of GoodForm. And I'm also an activewear designer. So I recently moved back to Dallas, in which my focus is to grow my following, continue building my brand. And yeah, I tell people I create healed, healthy, happy, and whole women through fitness, nutrition, mindset transformation, and community. So I've been doing this since 2014, but I've been into training since 2016. And so far I've transformed over 300 women. So yeah, it's just growing slowly but surely.
Hey, that's what's up. That's what's up. Tell me a little bit about your background. You said you're from the Dallas area, right?
I'm from Indiana. So
Oh,
I'm from a small town in Indiana. I tell people the city, but they're like, where is that? So I just tell people, if you know where Notre Dame is, just know that I live like 20 minutes from Notre Dame.
okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, but I live in Dallas now. I've lived in Dallas. I lived in Dallas as well back in 2015 to 2018, but I was working corporate. I was working for Boeing. And so all of my 20s, I lived in Atlanta, which I love the city of Atlanta. But Dallas is more, I'm 30 now. So like needing to like slow down a little bit, can't be party all the time. So I'm settled in Dallas now and I'll probably be here for a while.
Cool. So where'd you go to college?
Indiana State.
Nice.
Go Sycamores, yeah.
They're blue, right? Yeah,
That's Larry Bird's alma mater.
sure is. I went
Yeah.
to school with a guy at JUCO who ended up playing at Indiana State. Santino Davis, linebacker. You probably don't know him.
Okay.
Uh, what did you major in?
Communications.
Okay. So
So
go ahead.
nothing fitness related. You were gonna ask how did I get into fitness?
Uh-huh.
So in 2014, that was a rough year for me. I experienced a lot of loss that year. And so it put me in a really dark place mentally. And I was depressed, very depressed for about 3 months. And when I say depressed, I'm talking about going to work, but coming home, sleeping in the dark. Like I sat in the dark a lot during those 3 months. And then I was finally, slowly but surely, starting to get out of that. And I ended up going to the gym and I didn't know what I was doing when I got there. So I would just get on the treadmill and walk for about an hour. But what I realized is that I was leaving and I was feeling good. I was like, what is this? Like, I have to keep doing it. So then I learned, obviously, that your body releases endorphins when you're active, and endorphins makes you feel good. So I knew where that was coming from. So I didn't want to stop because I didn't want to feel what I had been feeling all that time. And I was leaving the gym feeling good. So I'm like, I have to keep doing this. And then slowly but surely, I started progressing from just cardio to lifting weights, to resistance band training, using some of the machine and the cable equipment. And before you know it, I had been like training myself for about a year and my complete physical changed. And everybody around me started to notice. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just going to the gym and just winging it. But yeah, so about after about a year, people started asking me like, can I go to the gym with you? Can I train with you? Mainly my friends. And so I would do it. And then I was living in Dallas in 2016 and a lady named Chemistry reached out to me. She saw my Instagram page. She reached out. She had a woman's owned gym in Dallas and it was Black owned. And she asked if I would come and be a trainer for her because she ran group fitness there. I'm like, I have no like real training experience, it's just based off of what I think I know. And she was like, I'm going to pay for your schooling to get you certified. So I ended up getting certified in personal training and nutrition and as a nutrition specialist through NFPT. which is the National Federation of Personal Trainers. And that was in 2016. And from then on, I just have been hitting the ground running. I stepped outside of her gym after about a year and started to build my own brand. And then GoodForm was born. So, I mean, that's kind of it. I've been full out with GoodForm since last year, but it really didn't take off until COVID hit.
Right.
I was a preschool teacher last year, and so I was focused on teaching. And then when COVID hit in March, they closed the schools down. So I'm like, what am I going to do? And God was like, this is your time. Like this, you got to run with it. So start being productive in a world full of unproductivity right now and get to creating. And so I did. I just started small by creating some 6-week virtual challenges, just using my social media. I got a lot of girls every challenge, and I would group them together and create a community for them, give them home workouts to do with minimal to no equipment because everybody was buying up everything during COVID, so it really was no equipment available anyway. And so I just started live coaching these challenges on Facebook, and it grew really big, and it was growing my following, and it was growing my clientele, and I was able to help keep women's mental stability on the up and up during COVID when a lot of people was experiencing depression and anxiety. So that's kind of what I did, and I've been doing that all of 2020, and it's worked out well. So I'm just looking to continue to grow and see where God has this going.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. I'm enjoying this. So what took you from Atlanta to Dallas?
The second time around, just the calmness. Atlanta is so party all the time. Like you live in Atlanta, and I'm really cool with a lot of people in the fitness industry in Atlanta, and they always want to go out. And it's like, I'm 30. I've been going out since I went to college. Like I need to slow it down. I can't bounce back the way that I used to. So just being able to be in a big city, but it's still calm and at my own pace is really what I wanted.
Okay. All right. A little more personal. Do you stay in actual Dallas, or you stay outside of Dallas?
So I think I live in Mesquite.
Okay.
So I'm in like Mesquite, Seagoville, Box Springs area. It's hard to still try to figure out. And sometimes I get Dallas highways mixed up with Atlanta highways. So I don't even know where I live. But I'm pretty sure I live in Mesquite.
Okay. What about, have you heard of an area called Addison?
Yeah, Addison. Probably like 20, 25 minutes away.
Okay. My wife went out there once and she fell in love with it. She was like, oh my God.
It's really nice too.
Yeah. She was like, every car is a Mercedes or a BMW or Tesla. I'm like, so? But
it's great because if you know about Texas, you know they don't have state taxes. So so that's lit. But I mean, the fitness community here is nowhere near the fitness community in Atlanta, and I think that was my original reason because I was new at training. Right. And it's like, I need to be in the trenches with a lot of these people that I know so I can really learn how to do this the right way. So moving to Atlanta, I was able to connect with some fitness influencers out there and really soak up a bunch of knowledge and see how people were doing things. And then from that, I was able to build my own business where I can move back to Dallas where it's slower here, but still be able to keep up the momentum.
Okay, cool. All right. Now I know I didn't ask you this, or I didn't preview this question to you, but how do you feel that your communications background can help you further your brand in this fitness world?
Well, you have to be a people person to be in fitness. Like you can't be shy and be in fitness. You have to get in people's faces. I mean, people's health are in our hands a lot of the times. So you have to be able to have interpersonal communication relationships with people as well as intrapersonal. So it's all about being empathetic, being able to be in somebody else's shoes, or being able to understand where they are mentally and meet them there. I've always been a communicator. I tell people I'm probably an over communicator, but talking and writing has always been something I've always been good at since I was younger. So communications was just an easy degree for me to fall back on. I originally went to school because I thought I wanted to be a dental hygienist, but then I got into my anatomy classes and they had me skinning cats and stuff. And I was just like, this is not, after me dissecting frogs and cadavers and all of that, I was just like, nah, I'm good. And so communication was easy for me. They're like, it's a lot of speeches and a lot of writing. And I'm like, ooh, I can talk and I can write. So I'm going to do this. Just to find out that I don't even need a communications degree to be doing what I'm doing. It comes very natural to me, not the fitness side of it, because I had to learn the educational aspect of it. But just being myself and being a people person, I feel like I was created to serve people, period. So it's very easy for me to meet people, talk to people, and really make people feel like they're important and they're understood. So I get a lot of compliments about that when my clients, they're just like, you just get us. And it's like, I have to try to get you in order to get you to where you're trying to go. And most of the times I was you know what I mean? 6 years ago, I was you. So I understand. So it definitely helps. But it's not everything. A lot of it is just natural to me.
Okay, that's dope. That's dope. I like hearing that. So, you were working at the daycare, preschool.
Preschool, yeah.
That's like completely shut down, and you're past that phase now, right? Because it's closed.
Yeah. So I'm not going back to preschool teaching. The preschool that I was at, so my classroom was 3 to 5 year olds, and I guess the umbrella of the school that I was working for is like a consortium. It's a whole, like they have a bunch of different locations, and they had no real plan for COVID. And for me, the kids' safety is number one, as well as my own too. And when you don't have a proper plan put together and you're just throwing kids back into classrooms because a lot of preschools are federally ran. So you get the money from the federal government, but you're not really putting protocols in place to protect the kids. And that was the big thing to me. And so I spent a year building these relationships with these parents and getting them to trust me with their kids 6.5 hours out of the day. And so to just go back to doing it just for the money, knowing I don't know how to keep them safe during COVID, they don't know how to keep me safe during COVID. It was just something I wasn't willing to risk. And my business popped off. And I think that was God's way of giving me an out, because I had already been praying on it. Like, I'm spending so much time doing all this for these kids, but I'm not doing exactly what my purpose is supposed to be. And so I think God was allowing me an out. And so I took it. And ever since I took it, I haven't looked back because it's worked out in my favor.
Man, that's what's up. That's a blessing.
Yeah.
That is
For sure.
So my next question is, what is your why? So if you need me to explain it, I can explain it, but
you can explain it.
Okay, so I love explaining this question because I get to get the whole background of how I got to it. So I'm a teacher by day, and when my principal got to the school last year, he showed us a video of a guy named Michael Jr. And in the video, he's a motivational speaker, and he's standing in front of a crowd, walks up to some guy and was like, "What do you do?" And the guy said, "Oh, I'm a choir teacher." He was like, "Well, can you sing?" The guy said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, sing Amazing Grace." And then he sings like the textbook version of Amazing Grace. Like, that was nice. That was really nice. He said, "Well, now I want you to sing Amazing Grace as if your uncle just got out of jail. Your brother just survived being shot like 9 times and all this other stuff." He was like, basically sing the black version of Amazing Grace. and as you know, he just went and blew it away, stretched out every syllable there was and all that. And the next thing Marcus Jr. said was, first time you knew what you were doing. Second time you knew why you were doing it. And he says, when you know your why, your what becomes more impactful. So basically, I know that you're a personal trainer and you explained a lot more of what you do. Now I want to know why.
I love that. I'm gonna have to watch that or something. You have to send me the link to that.
I definitely will.
But for me, my why is very simple. My purpose is to heal our people. And by our people, I don't mean to exclude anybody, but I'm also not gonna apologize for saying our people, Black people. Going way back, we have so much trauma that impacts our health. A lot of us have unhealthy relationships with food because you either grew up poor where you didn't really have a lot. And so trying to make $1 out of 50 cents, I guess you could say, or trying to make a meal out of little things that our parents could buy. Or you grew up on the other side of the spectrum where you had more than enough. And so maybe you're wasteful with food or things like that. So to me, unpacking a lot of that trauma and relearning ways in which we can be healthy without having to go to the extreme and do these fad diets is my why. Like, our people need to be healed. And I'm a strong believer. The reason people ask me, like, well, why do you only work with women? And it's not, I've worked with men before, but the reason I pinpoint women is because I feel like women are the pillars of families. And so if you can heal the woman and change her eating habits and increase her activity levels, automatically her kids' eating habits have to change, because 9 times out of 10, she's the one cooking and buying the groceries, right? And then she impacts her husband because her husband is going to eat what she's cooking, or her husband's going to see her being active. And so that may entice him to want to join in. So I truly believe that if we can heal the women that we have right now, then the next generation of kids are going to come from those healed women, and it's going to eliminate a lot of the traumas that we do have, and put us in a much better position on the health side. Because if you know anything about Black people in the healthcare industry, I like to think of them as a pain management industry. Their job is to keep you in pain, but help you manage it enough to where you're comfortable enough, but you still have to come back to them.
Right.
I'm all about let's get to the root. What is the pain, and let's try to eliminate that through natural options if possible. So I've talked to doctors and had to go back and forth with doctors about some of my clients and the things that they want to put them on and the medicines they want to give them. I'm like, do you even know the side effects of this medicine and how this is going to completely change her life for the worse? It's not going to make her feel better. So that's my why. My why is to heal people. I know that it is the purpose seed that God planted in my heart, because it's just been so easy for me to navigate it, that I know that it is purpose for me to do this. And so that's why I do it. So even on the days I want to quit, because being an entrepreneur is hard. And being in the fitness industry is also hard, because it can be a very vain industry and much so a popularity contest. But what I think about is a lot of women's lives and then their offspring's lives are attached to me writing out my purpose. So if I quit, a lot of people are not going to get to where they need to be because I quit. So I have to keep going. And so that, in a nutshell, is why I do what I do.
That's beautiful. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Good. All right. So I want to segue. We're talking about fitness and being physically fit. There are 5 components of physical fitness: cardiovascular endurance, muscular strength, muscular endurance, flexibility, and body composition. Of those 5 components, which do you believe is the most important to being physically fit, and why?
So listen, okay, let me start by saying flexibility, right? Because flexibility affects everybody in every age group, doesn't matter. So without flexibility training or exercises, it really limits it limits your range of motion. It can cause tightness and limited mobility in your muscles. So being able to do small things like reach down and reach up and stretch here, stretch there. So I do think flexibility is probably the most important. But I would say that muscular strength has to come in a close second, just because it also pairs with the body composition side. Right. The more muscle you build, the faster your metabolism goes. That muscle replaces fat. So your fat is naturally going to decrease as you build muscle. That is how I get a lot of my women who come in like, I don't want to look manly. I don't want to be muscular. And it's like, no, there's a way you can gain muscle on your body to benefit you and still create the body that you want. But then I would have to say cardiovascular is number 3, just because your heart and lungs are moving oxygen through your body, and they have to be able to fully function. So I know you asked me to pick one. So if I had to pick one, I would say flexibility, just because, especially in our elderly clients, getting arthritis and being very limited in their mobility, and you see a lot of as they get older, their body literally starts to shrink
Right.
because from a lack of flexibility, and they're not stretching anymore. And so they're not as active as they used to be. And so it causes them a lot of pain, and they're in a lot of discomfort. So I would say flexibility is first, but I definitely think that muscular strength and cardiovascular are definitely in the top three.
Okay, cool. Hey, I like it. I like it. As long as you can defend your answer and
Yeah.
explain why with factual evidence, I feel like there's no wrong answer as long as you can explain it. So sounds good to me. My next question, you know, we're recording this on what's today, the 29th of December,
Yes.
2020.
Mm-hmm.
New Year's resolutions coming up. Everybody's going to be trying to get in shape, get fit. So what tips do you have for getting in shape and staying in shape for 2021?
Okay, I can make this very simple. All of my clients follow my nutrition system, which is KISS, KISS, which is keep it super simple. The more complicated you make people's nutrition plans, the more likely they are to revert back to their bad habits. So I tell them to live by the 80-20 rule, which is 80% of what you consume should come from fresh, whole foods, clean, lean meats, fresh vegetables and fruits, good carbs, or whole grain carbs and things like that. But 20% of what you eat should be foods that you really enjoy. I consider myself to be a donut connoisseur. I love donuts. It's probably my favorite food ever. And so people always ask, like, how are you staying in shape but eating donuts? And it's like, because you have to have balance. You have to not restrict and limit people so much to where they're miserable in their lifestyle journey or their healthy lifestyle journey, and give them a little bit of leeway to enjoy the things that they like, so that it is something that's sustainable that they can continue to do.
Right.
The minute you take away somebody's carbs and tell them to never have carbs, the first thing they're going to do is binge on carbs. You know what I mean? So I would say for people to keep it simple, keep it super simple, 80-20 rule. 80%, I would tell people to shop on the outskirts of the grocery store. So when you go in the grocery stores, stay on the outsides, because on the outsides you have your meats, you have your fruits, you have your veggies, and then try to limit how much you're going down aisles and getting canned foods and things like that, because you don't know how long that stuff has been in those cans. So it's better to just get it fresh or get it frozen. As far as exercise, I would just say move. Like, just start moving, whether it's taking a walk. You're in the house, so there's plenty of content on YouTube. I also have a 30-day home program that is no equipment needed. You do it at home at your own pace on your own time. Just move your body, like do more than what you're doing. If you find yourself sitting down for hours at a time watching TV, that's fine. But during commercial breaks, get on the floor and do some crunches or squats or something. You just have to move, because being idle and being stuck inside and being isolated is causing people to eat. They're depressed, so they're eating. They're bored, so they're eating. And so a lot of people are gaining weight with nowhere to go to lose the weight, because a lot of gyms are limited or closed.
Right.
So you have to take control and be like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Start every day intentionally. Like, I'm going to spend 10 minutes marching in place. I don't know. I don't really care what you do. I just want you to do something. Just move. So I would say find something to get your body moving. Set time aside to do that. And then as far as nutrition is concerned, 80-20 rule.
Okay.
80-20 rule.
All right, good deal. So we already talking about 2021. What are some goals you have for yourself in 2021? Personal, business, and then also past 21.
Oh, okay. Personal goals for 2020. My biggest goal for 2021 for myself is to be more present, to be more intentional and be present, because what I'm learning from my 2014 terrible year of my life, which happened to be a blessing in disguise, but from that to this year and seeing how people are literally dying left and right, and you don't even get a chance to prepare for that, it's important to know that the moment you're in right now is the only moment that's promised to you. Yesterday already passed. You can't do anything to change it, so there's no need to harp on that. And then tomorrow is not promised. We don't know that we'll be here tomorrow. So right here, right now is the moment that you need to be in and be grateful for. So for me, being intentional on being present, and not thinking so far ahead. It is good to plan, but it's also important that we don't get so lost in planning for the future that we're missing the moment that we're in right now. And so that would be a personal goal for me. And then as far as business and good form, hey, I'm wishing six figures on my first 6 figures as being an entrepreneur and a business owner. So I have set a goal to try to make 6 figures before my 31st birthday, which is in July. But I'm okay if I don't meet 6 figures until December. As long as I touch 6 figures next year, I'm good. As well as growing my brand, expanding, getting more people to know who I am. Because I don't do this for the money. I do this, like you said, for my why, which is to heal our people. So the more women that know about me, and the more women that reach out to me are the more women that I can help, so that we can make sure that this next generation is better off than we were. So.
All right. Hey, I like it. I like it. So I did not really ask you about GoodForm. Tell me how you came up with the name GoodForm and everything.
Good form. Okay, so good. If you look at my logo, you'll see that good, there is a line through it because I feel like good is subjective to you. You doing your best, what's good for you, it may not be good for everybody else. And then form is the shape of something. And so for me, it's about recreating the mind and shaping the mind in a way in which it can then shape the body. I feel like it doesn't matter what you do physically, if mentally you're not there, then you're just not there. And so it's all about women doing what's good for them and at the same time reshaping who they are mentally so that it can show in the physical. That's how I came up with the name. I originally had another name, but I didn't have my business in order. And so some girl stole my name on Instagram and trademarked it and started using it. And so yeah, so I got a DM saying, hey, you cannot use this name anymore. I would tell you what it is, but it's gonna give her shine. Now I want that. But because I tried to talk her down, but she wasn't trying to, I'm like, girl, I've been using this name for a year. She's like, wait, you didn't trademark it? I looked it up. And it's like, you're right, I didn't, because I was new to business and I didn't know that I didn't.
What's the difference between trademarking and an LLC?
So trademarking protects the actual logo and the actual name itself. Like the LLC, nobody can create an LLC with my name, but if I don't have my logo trademark, they can still take my trademark. And then they can just name the LLC like Good Form Athletics and it would be approved because they just changed a little bit. So please, everybody, make sure you have your business in order when it comes to building your brand. Now I know though, if you've been using it in the market and you can prove that you've been using it in the market, if somebody comes after you and try to trademark it, they will investigate to make sure that that person started it. But if they see that you started it, they will deny their trademark application and give you a chance to apply for your trademark yourself. So that's a little piece of advice. But yeah, good form just kind of, and it's a double entendre because I'm talking about the mental side, but everybody in fitness uses good form. Like that's the first thing we want to make sure. It's not about lifting heavy, it's about having good form. So anytime I'm in the gym or on Instagram and I hear somebody say good form or see somebody use it, I'm like, yes, keep promoting my business and you don't even know it.
Right.
So, yeah, it's definitely a double entendre. It's so funny. But that's kind of how I got the name and it's worked for me. It's short, it's sweet. So yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, well, before we get you out of here, Necia, shout out any and all social media and websites you have.
Yeah, okay. You can find my website is goodformeverything.com. Everything on my website right now is 20% off. I have booty building bands for the ladies. I design my own activewear, so I have activewear sets for the ladies. Everything is 20% off until Thursday at midnight. And then, wait, when is this coming out?
This is gonna air early February.
Oh, okay. I'll extend it. It's fine. You guys can still go on there. And so I'll just extend it. But yeah, that's my website. And then you can follow my business page on Facebook at facebook.com/goodformeverything. Find me on Instagram. My personal Instagram is that's Necia Jay. So that's NECIAJAE. And then my business Instagram is Goodform Everything. Same on TikTok, same on Twitter. So yeah, Goodform Everything, and that's Necia Jay. That's where you can find me.
Cool. And all those links are in the description below. If you're watching
Awesome.
this on YouTube, if you're listening to this on whatever podcast service, I don't know, go to YouTube or just write it down, rewind it, and write it down what you just said. Necia, we appreciate you being on. I'm gonna have you back on soon too, because I'm loving your energy. So we got to get you back on here.
Thank you. I just wanted to say I appreciate what you're doing for us in the fitness industry, giving us a platform to come and tell our stories. Because like I say, you never know who you're going to reach unless people are listening. And a lot of times people don't know that they need us until they hear from us. And they're like, I do need somebody like that in my corner. So I appreciate you for giving us this opportunity. I will be listening to all your podcasts and supporting you as much as possible. You already know we have to support each other. So thank you very much.
All right. And this has been another episode of For the Health of It. I'm your host, Corian K. Paget.